Matti, welcome back for round 2 of the Vintage Downhill podcast. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me again. So we
Yeah,
had a
man.
bit of a rehearsal.
Yeah,
So let's hope this one works.
yeah. We had a 2-hour long rehearsal. That was that.
Yeah.
Was, I feel more rehearsed than ever. Jamie, how are you?
Yeah, all good, thanks, man. Yeah, definitely. Well, I think this is probably the only one we've ever rehearsed for officially.
How's your head?
Yeah, fine. Just tons going on. You know what it's like.
I
Stuff
mean,
going on
you
all the time.
crashed and got a concussion.
Well, yeah, I banged my head, but yeah, I don't know. I'm
Oh,
here.
Might be an improvement. I don't know. We'll see.
I
Well,
hope
see
you're
what
good.
happens.
We'll have people vote.
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
remembered to bring your charger this time. So
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah,
Dude, we had multiple technical issues last time.
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was meant to be that we do this one over again. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, we should be good.
Right on. Um, Right on, Matti. Thanks for joining us. We started this podcast sort of as an offshoot of our group where people just talk about old downhill bikes, of which you're a member of the group, and you recently built and raced. Well, recently in the last few years, built and raced an old downhill bike. So we appreciate having you on.
yeah, that was a pretty interesting COVID project. So it was a dream of mine always to have Intense M1 and race one. And when I had the chance to ride one, it was a pretty cool experience, even though it was 15 odd years after my prime.
Yeah, what was that, like a 1998 M1?
Well, yeah, the bike I believe is from 1998, and then I raced it in 2020. So 2020. So that was 22 years old.
Yeah.
Old vessel
How
back then.
how was the bike when you got it? Did you paint it?
No, actually, I didn't. It looked to be in a pretty bad nick, but then once I got all the old stickers and cleaned it all out and had like a bit of a well, I used like a car wax of some kind to polish the paint up and
Yeah.
get it all cleaned up. It turned out to be pretty good, apart from the seat stay was nearly worn through, or like
Yeah.
the tire had been rubbing on the chain seat stay yoke, and that had
Yeah.
so I had to
Yeah.
get somebody to weld it and patch it up and then get it all polished and nice and neat. But it turned out really good. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say it's like brand new, but it's good enough. Like you won't be able to tell unless you kind of know. So
Yeah.
I say, from the pictures I saw, I thought you'd painted it because it looked really good. It's the same sort of yellow as a couple of mine are.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is the original paint, luckily, and
Yeah.
I don't think it has been resprayed over the years. So it was in like a good nick, like where this chainstay connects the or connects to the front triangle, and there's always like stone chips and stones get stuck
Mhm.
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
in between the bottom yoke and the main frame. So that had like scratched quite a bit of the paint off, and he had some pretty big nicks in there. But I left it as it was, and there wasn't any other colorways, like you couldn't see any other paint layers. So I believe that it's the original color, because the serial number of the frame is still like readable.
Mhm.
And I
Nice.
actually I sent pictures of that to Jeff Stieber so that he could sort of clarify exactly which year the frame was manufactured, and he kind of opened up the code, like, okay, this leathering means like, okay, this is like 100 and something production frame of that year, and it's being produced, I believe it was like this. I don't remember the months, but it was like certain production number, certain month, and then the year, which is
Yeah.
clearly visible. It's 1998.
Do you
And I
keep
Pretty
tried to
cool
build
that
it
you
up
do.
in like period correct part as close as possible, which was a challenge itself. But it's like I would really wanted to do like a proper job. Obviously, some parts are more or less impossible to get, like tires from the 90s. So I prefer to go with, when I raced it, I put some fresh tires on.
Yeah.
which were 26 inch because the all tires were, rock solid and all cracked up. Like if I would have gone with correct tires.
Yeah. What would that have been in 1998? Like a IRC missile or Cujo or something? What did they even have back then?
Yeah, I
or
think
just a Michelin Wild Gripper DH.
Oh yeah.
yeah, probably Wild Grip at the age because like the Comp
Yeah.
16s were like team tires only, I believe. Like they were pretty hard to buy. Or
I think
What's,
they were. They came
what's
out
the
when it was
Comp 16?
tubeless. That was early 2000s because they came out as a Nagesti tubeless tire, didn't they? It's one of the first ones.
yeah, that's right because Michelin used to have the Michelin system,
Yeah.
which was basically a road tubular tire with I believe like one of those like tire inserts pretty much glued onto the tubular tire, and then
Yeah.
two separate valves. It kind of looked like a motorcycle tire lock because the actual valve core was hidden underneath like a little lug nut. So you had to like unscrew that, pump the tubular tire, which held the tire in bead, and then you had like a tire insert, and then you close that chamber with a little lug nut type of
Yeah.
thing, like this
I,
big metal cap.
I don't even know if that was commercially available or whether that was just for team riders, that system.
That was just a team riders. Like
Yeah.
we raced it in 2001 two
Mm.
at Global Racing when we were sponsored by Michelin, and it was well guarded secret by the Michelin until like we were already allowed to change the tires in the pits, but like from the stories that I've heard from the old team riders that used to run it, it was like Michelin had these big trucks and you had to like drop off your wheels to the truck, and then they would change the tires inside the truck, that nobody was allowed to see what was the Michelin system, which was pretty basic thing now if you think about it, but back then it was pretty advanced technology.
They were probably expensive.
I'm sure they were, because if you think about the R&D and production, I like the development cost and engineering and everything that went into it, and bringing the infrastructure to the races and supporting the
I mean, it
riders.
sounds like you kind of have two tires in one.
Pretty much that's kind of what it was. Like I think Schwalbe made like a similar
The
kind of thing. What was it called?
Procore, and that was like a valve inside
Procore.
a valve.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
you had the inner valve did the inside of the tube effectively, and then the outer valve effectively did the volume between the tire and the tube.
Yeah, that's right. And then he put like an immense pressure on the rim,
That's
and
it.
then and then
Bang.
then rim started failing. But the Michelin system one, it didn't really have that issue because it was basically a tubular tire.
Yeah.
So there wasn't all the pressure was like held in the tire, and it wasn't putting any extra strain on the actual rim. And it really, I guess it was basically designed like if you to have a puncture, you'd still have like more or less half or like 50% of the air left in the tire. You'd be able to finish the race.
Mm.
Which back in the day, like if you'd be able to finish the run and you would be 10 seconds back, you'd still, I don't know, had a chance to be in top 20, where now it's like it would be impossible. So like all the marginal gains that the guys are trying to find these days, it's like that just wouldn't, that system wouldn't be like effective in any ways. Like there would be no benefit from it really, apart from like maybe would give a little bit extra protection on the from punctures, but there are a whole bunch of different other solutions for that nowadays, and I don't even know if people run tire insets anymore, if they're really a thing. I think some people do,
Yeah.
some people don't. So
I do on an e-bike on the back. Definitely helps with it, with the tire roll.
yeah, exactly. Tire, well, probably tire roll, and then it gives it a bit more
Just gives it
protection.
more stability. I find if you run too low a pressure on an e-bike, you hit G out in a corner, and the tire will just fold over, even if you got a full e-bike reinforced tire. So I always run an insert on the back, and then I find it offers a sidewall more support, and then I can run a lower pressure.
Yeah, and it gives a bit more protection, or like protects your rim from the impacts and dings and dents, at least.
Yeah, and the tire's more predictable. I find it doesn't roll over at split in a split second, and suddenly the back end goes sideways. It's just where it is.
Yeah.
What kind of pressure are you able to get away with when you run an insert?
Well, I'm still running like 20, 21, something like that.
Pretty low, yeah.
But if I'd have to run 25, 26 maybe if I'm not running an insert.
Yeah.
And you still get to that point where it then rolls over and just wants to break away.
Yeah, I think I'm running like 28 in the back, but I don't have inserts, so maybe I should try them out.
Yeah, but that is on a mullet setup, so that is running like a 2.8 or a 2.6 on the back. 2.6 these days, but
I got a 2.8 eddy current in the back, and if I'm not running like 28, I can feel it roll.
Yeah, but that's what I had before. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I used to insert for a little bit, and then I kind of too much of a hassle to put them in.
Yeah.
And then I guess I don't ride that hard these days anymore, that I figured that I may as well not bother putting them in, because I didn't really find them that useful. And just
right on. What
not in that much of a hurry anymore. So
what bike are you riding these days?
I've got like a high bike. I'm sorry, not a high bike. It's a Ghost. I get confused with the brands because I work for the distributor that has high bike and Ghost, Lapierre, etc. Like part of Axel Group. So yeah, I've got a lightweight Fasua motor e-bike, which is pretty fun. It's not quite as powerful, but it's lightweight, and then I actually went a size down, so it's probably a little bit on like a small side for myself, but I find it quite like fun to ride, and it gives me a bit of a feeling that I'm actually going fast, because the bike is not so stable, and it's a bit more playful. So I prefer to ride that. And obviously the battery doesn't give you such a big range, because it's like a 400 something watt hour, but it's good little fun bike to ride. And then I've got like a bike park bike, basically built from like a Lapierre Spicy, which is like the enduro race bike that the Lapierre the enduro team used. But
I was going to say, what sort of riding are you doing these days? You doing any downhill at all, or
a little bit? Like I would say it's more like a bike park. I'm more like a bike park rat. So when the day is nice and it's not raining, or I feel like that I'm gonna go to a bike park, then I'll go. But I haven't raced like since I raced M1. So I haven't like raced against the clock in ages. So I can still occasionally go fast if I feel like it, but then it gets kind of sketchy. Like I don't really have the strength and fitness anymore to like go all out for probably longer than like a minute.
The thing is, you'd still kick our ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We should arrange something that I could get out of Finland and get on a proper hill and get some riding in, go on like a bit of a bike park trip, which would be cool. But yeah, I still find time to take my bike and go for some bike park laps.
Well, we've got some projects we're working on here, so maybe I'll give you a shout later this year, and we'll get you over.
Yeah, that would be cool. Like I'd really like to see the bike park Wales, and is it the Atherton bike park?
Yeah, Dudley. Yeah.
Dudley, yeah. Which that would be cool to. Probably the jumps are too big for me nowadays. Like I'd be shitting myself.
Yeah, well, we get you over. We'll do a tour around a few parks.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah, definitely love that.
100%, man.
But yeah, still, and then I don't know what other bikes. Rod motorbikes and Harleys and yeah, some gravel bikes and.
Did you say Harley?
Yeah.
You have a Harley?
Always had like a soft spot for Harleys, so
nice.
So yeah, when it's a nice and sunny day, it's cool to get the old hog out and go for a bit of a lap.
Yeah.
So is it sports Harley, or is it just a big hog?
Oh, it's like a wannabe, like a what is it, like Club Star Diner. So I've got all the stuff to do, like stunts and stuff, but I'm too scared to wheelie it. Like I've been practicing, but it's too scary. I've got a few mates that are pretty good at like doing wheelies, so like I'll take them out for bike rides and teach them how to ride a bike, and then they always like trying to teach me how to pop a wheelie. But it's once you get the technique right, it's actually easy. I guess it's always some like everything that you do is about the technique, but it's pretty scary to get it like upright where you can actually find the balance point.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to drop your pride and joy, do you? It's going to get expensive.
No, and like if you to loop it out, which is unlikely, but like it's quite scary to think about crashing it because you will likely get hurt.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, seriously.
On a 600-pound bike, what do those things weigh?
Somewhere around that, I would say.
Something. Yeah. So, dude, being this is our round 2, last time we talked with you, you were talking about all these bikes that you had when you were growing up, especially the Kuwahara.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know what the heck you were talking about. Because like I think the Kuwaharas we had here in California are like nothing like the ones that you had there in Finland. Like there was a Lawwell Kuwahara that some of the pros were racing here in California. The bike you had wasn't anything like that. So I put together some pictures of you and your bikes like over the years, because like we were talking about your Scott with the multiple shocks and the multiple seat tube, seat posts, you know, and I usually have to go back. I told you I have a contractor working on my house, so if you hear banging, I usually have to go back and like edit and like insert the photos. But if you're okay, I can share some photos and walk through some of the stuff. And if I were Joe Rogan, I'd be like, "Hey, Jamie, pull that up."
I would not have a clue.
Wouldn't have a clue. But let me share and we can go through it. Is that cool?
Yeah, sure. Let's see them.
Let me see. Share documents, screens. Of course, it's not working now. Hang on, I'll be right back.
Please bear with the IT guy.
Yeah.
Right, the IT guy. Who's the IT guy?
We can cut this bit out, right?
We're gonna have another technical difficulty.
We'll be back in a minute. Here's an advert from our sponsors.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? Well, let's see what happens.
Screen share's popped up.
Yeah. There we go. Now let's see. How do I do this?
Screen. Oh boy.
Oh my gosh. We can click through really quickly. How old are you here?
I would say probably 4 or 5, maybe.
Yeah. Is that your first bike?
Possibly. At least that's the first memory of having having my own bike. I probably had like some tricycles and whatnot.
Is your fork already bent?
Balance bikes didn't exist back in the early or like in the 80s when I was born in 1984. So I would say I probably learned how to ride a bike. It was late 80s, early 90s, somewhere around that time. But I would say I'll be about 4 or 5. But that's I still have like some vivid memory of that. It's basically called a BMX, and it's got like little, what is it? Practice wheels, other practice wheels, like mounts where you see the chain guide. There's like a little cutout on the.
Oh, for the training wheels would just slide.
Yeah, the training wheels. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, so it had like a fixed spots for training wheels. So definitely had that bike and got the training wheels taken off at some point. So.
You got some proper fenders.
A helmet. That's a funny thing. Helmets wasn't really a thing back then. I don't think I got my first bicycle helmet until I was probably like 10 or something like that. When I started
Yeah.
riding, like they just didn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where I found that, but there you go. So
Oh,
here you are. How old are you here on your this is your Kuwahara?
yeah, this is definitely the Kuwahara. This is 1998.
Yeah.
So this is when I was frothing over the M1, and that was the year I started racing DH. And yeah, still already got the motocross pants on, some Fox kit with like a whole bunch of sponsors from our bicycle club, which was a mandatory to get those sort on. And I absolutely hated all the patches that needed to put it on because they just looked horrendous, but we had to.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that's the Kuwahara with the good old RST high fives and air, yeah, like an air
The
dampening
the
system.
air damper.
And some
Yes,
V brakes
Air
on there.
quotes for the air damper.
yeah,
Yeah. And some V brakes on there for that awesome stopping power.
exactly, yeah.
And you
So
snap
on
that
like a
fork?
rainy day, you'd probably go through like a set of brake pads every
Yeah.
second run. Like I don't remember changing the brake pads at all, but I don't think that the brakes they definitely didn't work.
No.
Like you had the ceramic brakes, which was like I mean the ceramic rims, like the side the braking surface was ceramic, which I never had the privilege to have those because they were way more expensive than having the standard Mavic 121s, which I had at the time, which was the go-to rim.
Hmm.
But yeah, other than I don't think I broke that many things on that bike. It was for my size and weight, and at the time it was pretty good. Probably went through a couple of chain stays, but other than that, it
Well, and you broke the fork, didn't you?
well that was at the end of the year. Yeah, like definitely snapped the fork. Like it, I did this big staircase drop, not wearing a helmet because it wasn't a thing really. Like when we were going
Yeah.
out like play riding, because I think we got like influenced. If you look any of the old like mountain bike movies and you see either the pros or BMXs or people going dirt jumping, it was, they would just wear a hat. So nobody wore a helmet like when they were out play riding. So we never wore a helmet because it just wasn't cool.
Yeah.
So, which now looking back, it feels kind of strange, but never really hit my head or had any injuries until like later in my career. But yeah, fun memories that the thing. Oh, here's a nearly a
Yeah.
side shot.
That
Oh,
so this
that
reminds me like of like that 1994 Diamondback. They had something similar, but not quite the same.
yeah. Well, yeah. Speak of which, it kind of has some similar features. Like it's a sing and pivot.
Hmm.
As
Yeah.
if I recall, it probably has like a 100 millimeters of travel, so it wasn't like or maybe 120
Hmm.
somewhere along those lines. So I would say it was still at the time it was okay.
Hmm.
And when I got this bike, it was the best day of my life. Like I pretty vividly remember when we went to the bike shop and it was like it was on display at the shop, and my parents, they didn't have money to buy it.
Hmm.
So I had to like pitch in 50% of the cost in order to purchase the bike. So I remember like selling my snowboard, delivering mail, and like collecting money. Got some cash from my Korean parents. So I rang them up. Is like, oh, can you chip in? Like, I want to start this new sport, and yeah, I needed
So
a
this
bike.
was that might have been like $1,300 ish back in the day.
I would say, yeah, it was
Maybe. Yeah.
before. Like we had a Finnish mark at the time. It was before Euro.
Mm.
So seven, yeah, I would say it's probably equivalent to like probably yeah 1,200 euros,
Yeah.
which roughly is about 1,200 bucks. But
Got the
yeah, with
Rock Shock Super Deluxe in the back. That should have lasted at least two rides.
about that was about right because it they literally would the thing would just blow up like the the oil would just all the seals would just explode.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the most reliable thing.
Yeah. We had I was a GT dealer and a Giant dealer back in 97, 98. And our GT dealer took us on a camping trip in Downeyville, down California, which is a really well known area for mountain biking. And he brought a bunch of the LTSs, like the LTS like 2000 and 3000s. So they were like Asian made, but they had the super deluxes on the back. I remember taking that thing on a night ride, and I came back, and the only thing left of the shock was the spring. Like it literally blew apart and left its guts like somewhere on the trail, and it was dark. I couldn't see it. I come back to the campfire, and like all there is a spring.
Yeah, that was a common thing back then.
Yep.
And
Though the most reliable thing on that bike is those pedals, the DX pedals. Everybody had them.
Yeah, yeah. And the cool feature was also the club bruised handlebars with the cross sprays, which creaked like hell. Like
Did they?
It was just and the mountings would wear like these big cutouts on the handlebar. But
that's just because you're flexing them so hard, Matty.
Exactly. Yes, it wasn't.
But they had a habit of snapping right at the clamp as well, because the bar could no longer flex.
Yeah.
So when you they just snapped off at the side of the clamp.
Oh geez, luckily I was that little that I never had to experience that. But it was. I do remember the creaking side of things. And
there's one more of you on your Kuwahara.
This is my second race ever.
Really?
Yeah, nice. Yeah, definitely. Close to about an hour north from Helsinki.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like in my age class. I'm pretty sure that I won like every single race, but I was also the only rider who had a full suspension bike.
Yeah.
So that was pretty big advantage over all my competitors. But then, like, even though I was still racing like maybe it was like a not youth category, but like boys under 15 or something like that, I was always gauging myself to the class and up. Like I was always comparing my times, and even though if I won my race, but I wasn't top 3 in like the next age class, I would be quite upset. So I wasn't like, even though I didn't race in their class, but I was always comparing my times to them, and even to elite. Like that's kind of the guys that I wanted to beat already at that age. So I was quite.
And how old were you here?
Sorry?
How old were you here?
I'm pretty sure I'm 14, I believe.
Wow. So I looked it up. I think the tallest mountain in Finland is like 4,500 feet, like 1,300 meters, something like that.
Yes, and that is pretty much on the border of Finland and Norway. So like very, very far north. So it would be about a good 15-hour drive probably north.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's like it's basically just rock, and it's a national park, so you're not allowed to ride bikes there whatsoever.
Okay.
So it's not so there's not like a ski resort or anything like that, because it's a national park. So
the trails that you're riding on when you're coming up in Finland, what were they like? Like how big were the mountains? Did they have extended downhills?
I wouldn't call them much of a mountain, so they're more like rolling hills.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say like around my, like within a 3-hour drive radius from here, we would get like a 1 minute probably DH tracks.
Oh wow.
1.5 back in the day, because you would just zigzag and pedal across.
Yeah.
But like a modern track, you would get somewhere close to a minute or even under.
How much of the year could you actually ride though, Matty? Because obviously, a lot of snow up that way. What do you think we get? A few months?
Well, throughout the summer, yeah, we can ride quite a bit, but we get a harsh winter, which is approximately from like at least from December until April. We get like constant snow. But like proper DH tracks, yeah, I would say that I did like push up laps close to my house. There's like a bit of a hill where I always, like, after school I would just cycle there and just do laps on my own. I don't know, like it was like I don't know, some kind of an escape. Like I wasn't ever much about school, or didn't study too much. I always wanted to go out and ride my bike. That's literally like all I did. And I think it's just like I got like probably like really good like basic fundamentals, because I would just keep doing laps over and over again over this, like a, let's say only like a 15-second, like a small tiny hill, but I would just do corners and laps and trying to ride. I do remember like having this one bit of a track that I just wanted to ride brakeless, that I would just death grip and not touch my brakes, and I would just keep practicing it until I like achieved it. But I never ever thought that as like a training method. It was just something that I did for fun. Like it was just my way of entertaining myself. Like I just wanted to challenge myself, and to do these, like, looking back now, like really basic fundamentals, which I think like really shaped my riding skills, like corner speed and like being like in a good position on the bike and having like a good posture on the bike.
This looks proper here, though. This looks like a proper trail.
Yeah, that's like a bit of a drop off. Like you can see a bit of course marking on the left hand side of the tree. So there's like a bit of a corner, and then you have to like drop down. And this is probably like a minute and a little bit of a track, maybe. Yeah, about a minute. But yeah, good bit of track. And back in the day, like, you didn't really moan about courses having too much pedaling, because it was just a thing. Like back in the day, that the downhill tracks, it was normal to have like a long pedaling section. Like you would just pedal across a freaking parking lot to the finish, just to extend the tracks. And now, like, if there would be a 200-300 meter straightaway at the end on a dead flat section, people would be like, why don't you just move the finish line like where the hill actually finishes? But yeah, the sport just changed a lot from
put some big jumps in.
Sorry?
They just put some big jumps in these days and just push put some good doubles in.
Yeah.
Is this your bike, or is this like what your bike looked like after the
This is something which pretty close. Like it's I did have one of these things. This is not my actual bike.
There we go.
Yeah. So I raced the long seat, or like the motocross seat. I had that for like half the season or something like that. Obviously, you were trying to
holler if I'm skipping around too much. But
yeah, like it was so hard to like maneuver on the bike if you had that. It's like basically having a top tube all the way at that height. Like it was the only good thing that it was good at was like if you had to corner, like we were trying to like mimic motocross riders. So we would go like to the very front of the seat, put your feet up like on the motocross bike, pretty much having like your ankle parallel to your front axle, and like having these like going around flat corners. But other than that, I don't know what the idea behind that whole thing was, because it was pretty hideous, and it just looks like, I don't know, it just doesn't have a very good look.
I mean, I like the adjustability on the rear end. It looks like it has adjustable chainstay, adjustable progression, adjustable travel. That's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. You definitely I would say that bike was pretty much ahead of its time. Like it has adjustable geometry. Like you can change. There's like a sliding bit, so you can change the shock mount, which lowers the bottom bracket and slackens out the head angle. And then you had a wheelbase adjustment, which was, I would say, done in a pretty complicated way because you had to like dismount the entire chainstay, and that would like slide backwards or forwards, and the thing would always come apart at some point.
Constantly moving.
Yeah, and then that frame, it have a bit of a tendency to basically snap in half. So when the shock would bottom out, it would pretty much trying to rip off the bottom bracket. So where the bottom bracket mounts to the lower tube, it would eventually just get disintegrated from the frame. Because like all your weight, when they bottom out, all your weight was on the pedals.
And you know this from experience, I take it?
Frame would just jackknife. Sorry?
And you know this from experience, I take it?
Yes, I did go through quite a few of those frames.
Yeah.
And we just, we probably, the distributor replaced a few. And then when they ran out, we just, we had to get them welded.
Yeah.
And like patched up. But it wasn't the strongest thing.
Yeah. So did you have to buy the Scott or were you fully sponsored?
I got sponsored by the local distributor of Scott. So they gave me the jersey. And nice. I think I paid like half price. So I probably got it on like, I think possibly on their cost or something like that. And then I had a big payment terms. So I could use the bike and then I think paid by end of the year.
So
sorry?
You've got a Boxer, you got D-Max wheels. I see XTR brake levers. So this is the bike with the RockShox disc brakes, probably?
Yeah, I think I would say at the time the bike was, that was my second DH bike, and it pretty much had all the bells and whistles.
Like that would have been like $4,000 back in the day, 4,500.
Yeah, it wasn't cheap. It definitely wasn't cheap. So apart from the brakes, the components were pretty decent. The brakes were garbage. Like they were very, very, very poor, underpowered. If you ever had an issue with it, like you just had to pretty much toss it away, get a new one. Like, and luckily the distributor at the time, they just exchanged the calipers. I think there was a way to bleed them somehow, but it just probably was easiest, quickest way to just exchange the entire caliper. So it was basically, it was cable actuated hydraulic disc brake, which probably had like a teaspoonful of brake fluid in it.
So I read, because I had these back in the day on some of my bikes, and I had one pair that worked really well, and I had like 4 pair that didn't work at all. But I read you used to be able to get the instructions on these things. So first of all, they used automatic transmission fluid, and to bleed them, you actually had to submerge the whole caliper in like a bucket of fluid, and then there was that red button on top, and that was like how you bled it somehow. But I could never make it work. Do you remember I had like this red button on top?
Just keep pumping it.
Remember the red button, keep pushing it.
Yeah, that was like the bleed
button. Not knowing what it did.
But you got like your hands in a bucket of ATF. It never worked.
Christ, that sounds healthy for your skin.
Yeah, and then you got to clean it up so it doesn't get all over the brake pads. So it was really a good design. That was designed in California, so you can blame us for that.
And the brake pads were tiny, like the actual pad material that was designed to slow you down. It was
And if you had the original discs on there, the original RockShox ones, they had no cross drilling, so they were just smooth surface with nothing to clean the pads off.
Yeah, that's right.
Some of them had drilling, some didn't.
Yeah, that's it. And they, yeah, and they literally, when it rained, they did nothing. You had to go like full. Yeah, you probably had like 5 meters without going, without slowing down whatsoever. So you had to anticipate your brakings in the wet conditions in order to. But you're probably.
Were you racing pro, or are you still junior at this time, or?
I was still, yeah, a junior. So I wasn't even a junior. So I was youth. So I still wasn't old enough to race in like the junior world championships at the time. Because in this photo, I would say I'm 15. And I would have got selected to race the Aura 1999 World Championships, but I wasn't old enough to race, because back in the days you were allowed to race 3 junior worlds. So I think by the time, so quite a few of the riders from my era, they raced 3 junior worlds. Like for Sam Hill, for example, like he's got 2 golds and 1 bronze from juniors. And then like Julian Camellini, I'm pretty sure like Mick Hanna and quite a few other riders, they did 3 junior worlds.
Nice.
But
And
yeah,
then
this is
this is
oh boy, no,
the dual shock
that
bike.
was an upgrade from the FXDH. Well, at least
How is this an upgrade?
Sorry, because they
it?
had more suspension trouble.
Oh, okay.
It felt like yeah, it felt like it was endless rear travel. Maybe it was like 180 mil. I don't know, 200 mil, but it was a huge upgrade from the FXDH, and he had the dual shock, which I never at the time quite understood what it did. Obviously, the lower shock, I think it's like a compression damping, and then the actual shock where the coil is mounted has rebound, and then the coil. But
I'm pretty sure that came with that bike's got the Gustavs on it, right? The Maguras.
yes, that's it.
That's a big upgrade from the RockShox discs.
It definitely was. It definitely was. And there's some, looking at this photo now, like it was really difficult to get like a front adapter for the front Magura that would fit the Boxer.
Yeah.
And I made one myself out of like a aluminium plate, just like mounted on like a piece of cardboard, and like kind of made a stencil and then just cut it out. And I was a week before the Junior World Championships in Sierra Nevada. So when I rocked up to Sierra Nevada, I had like a homemade front adapter, and the Magura guys were kind enough to like hook me up with an actual adapter that it would fit the front forks.
Yeah.
And this bike was hell of a piece of kit, because he has a adjustable head tube. And I never understood. Well, at the time I didn't understand what it did. It was just like, well, why does it circle or like rotate? But obviously, when I got it, and it was set up on the steeper position when it came out of the box, and I raced the World Championships with the bike on the steep headset, or like the head angle. So I wish there was somebody that would have told me like, oh, I think on this high speed course, if you slacken the bike, if you slacken the head angle, it would actually help a lot, and you'd be able to like have a lot more stable bike, and probably go a little bit faster. But you live and learn. Like I was pretty young and naive at the time, and it was all we were experimenting, and yeah, you just pretty much winged it. And another funny story is like, because MRPs were like extremely difficult to find in Europe.
Yeah.
And the rollers, or at least in Finland, I managed to get a probably a secondhand MRP from Katya Repo, because she was on the GT team. So she has some spare parts. She hooked me up with an MRP for that particular bike. And then I lost one of the rollers, which, going to another story, which is pretty cool, because Jamie, you hooked me up with some MRP rollers for my M1 project. And then it was Loic's mechanic, Jack, that worked for like Loic Bruni's mechanic. He was already working for the Scott factory team back in the day. And I don't know if Jack listens to this, but I was just a little grom. I dropped one of the MRP rollers, and obviously me having a Scott, I figured that I might as well go to the Scott factory team and see if they could hook me up with some spare parts. And Jack was kind enough to hook me up with this, with a new MRP roller, and it really made my day. So Jack, if you're listening, thanks for giving me an MRP roller back in 2000, so 25 years ago.
Nice.
So technically, Jack's worked for me as well, because he's a good mechanic. Worked for Loic now, so. But yeah, he's been around for quite some time.
Nice. What year would this have been? Like 98? Did you say?
No, this is from 2000.
Okay.
And this actual photo is so it's the two international races that I did that year, which was the World Championships, which were quite unusual because of the Olympics. It was held in June, and this particular photo has been taken from the VARS European Championships in France. So where I think I got 7th. Yeah, pretty sure. Don't remember who won. It was like French in top 10. I think it was like 7 French and 2 Finns. So we had like,
no way.
Yeah, it was pretty much dominated by French. Somebody can recall me on this, but yeah, it was definitely Camellini, Julien Pumans, and then some other Frenches. But yeah, French was strong, like they used to be back then. And then they had a bit of a drought for some years, and now they are the dominating force again in the sport.
Right on.
Yeah.
Here's you on the same bike, I think. Different wheels, maybe.
And this is a year after. This is my first ever World Cup.
Oh, really?
191, yeah. And that's probably the second, or like the last straightaway before getting to the finish line at Maribor. I'd already had a crash by now. And there are a few things about this photo. Like if you look at the Maguras, you can see they're black. The brake levers are black.
Yeah.
And I was massively influenced by Palmer, because Palmer had black Maguras. I really wanted to get black Maguras, but they weren't available. So I spray painted them black because I think they just
nice
look bad. But yeah,
you're
done easy like you had to have back in the day.
Your levers don't look like they're on the same.
Right?
Your levers don't look like they're on the same level. You said this was after a crash?
Yes, that's it. I've already had a crash by then, so yeah, I wasn't. The brake levers on, they were level before the race, but then yeah, crashed and yeah, they were a bit bent. But yeah, this is a pretty cool photo. Like looking back, it's 25 years ago. Wow, that's crazy.
So was that was 2001, May?
Yeah, that's 2001. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Let's see if I got stuff in the right order. I think some of these photos might be
pretty
order, but let's see.
Yeah, that's let's see. This is 2003 in Grouse Mountain. So we're running like a little bit of different setup. So this was after global racing had kind of shrink down. So there was only 4 riders. From the past year, or like 2002, it was 8. Yeah, it was a pretty big team, but yeah, that's this is my first year elite, and yeah, that bike was it was small, it was noisy, it was reliable. But yeah, the other than that, we were running Michelin tires with tubeless setup already back then, and yeah, good memories on that bike. I don't know, I didn't really have much other experience from different bike brands and different frames, but that's just
So
I guess it worked. That was a good bike, even though it was tiny. Looking back now, it's like myself, Mario Sonner, PT, Greg. Everybody had to be on the same size frame.
oh
And that was
really?
crazy. Yeah, they only made like one size, and it was like one size for all.
I opened questions up to the Facebook group, and one of the dudes asked, "How crazy was it to have Missy Giove on your team as a teammate?" I don't know if that was this year or a prior year.
Oh, it was pretty intimidating.
Really?
She was like, yeah, she was quite a character.
Yeah.
I wish that I, I I would have known how to speak more English at the time, and I would have not been so shy.
I think with
But I
Missy, all
never
you need
really
to
had a
know.
chance to get to know her that well, and have much of a conversation. But yeah, she was one hell of a character.
I think the only English you need to know with Missy is like dude and bra, and you're good.
Yeah, and I definitely learned how to swear,
Yeah, I bet.
which was bad. So I learned how to use the F word
Yeah.
by being around her.
I had
And
really bad luck with girls back in the 90s because I didn't really know how to pick them. And I totally had a crush on Missy, but like I didn't know that like it wasn't destined to go anywhere. I thought she was like super cool.
I
Yeah.
think
And
you may have been her girl, buddy.
we had
yeah,
too much in common. That was the problem.
yeah. Oh, that's a funny
Yeah.
story.
Same bike, I think.
Yeah, same
So,
back bike. That's probably from Montana.
okay.
So like North
Let's
American
see.
round.
It might be the same race. I think that's the same number plate.
Could be. They were only like a week apart.
Yeah.
And yeah, we definitely didn't have different kit for each round, and bikes didn't get refreshed like now they do. Like um the team was having like a minimum budget, so we didn't have a mechanic. So it was like myself, Andrew Neathling, and Cesar Rojo and Lindsay Klein, so
Hmm.
straight in junior.
Yeah.
So we were pretty much just a whole bunch, like a bunch of pikeys just wrenching out of the back of a sprinter van.
This is a totally different kit, but it looks like you're still on orange. Are you still on global at this point?
No, that's all for. Um, this was like a year when I was having like a solo ride, so
Hmm.
got some backing from Orange. They gave me some frames, so basically went back to, I would say, back to the roots. Like I did my junior years in global racing, then the industry went into a pretty big financial struggle. So like big teams specialize, Trek, Giant, B1 bicycles, to name a few, Swin DH team. Quite
Hmm.
a few of the big brands stopped having DH teams, and there was just no rides available. So I did a 1 year of privateering,
Hmm.
got my first top tens, and I think even a couple of top sevens. Some pretty good results. Uh, so yeah, it was an orange 222.
Hmm.
Had some local backing from local Shimano. Uh, Nokian tires hooked me up with some Gasolodis. Um, yeah, and then uh, it was raining in, yeah, it was a racing. There was a World Cup in Calgary, And the Nokian tires were absolute garbage. Like they were just, I had so many punctures. And when it was wet, the rubber compound wasn't good whatsoever. So I got some secondhand Maxis Swamp Things or something like that. It was like a intermediate tire back in the day, and I got those from somebody, and I just could not believe how creepy they were. That was just compared to what I was used to, and I got my first top 10 in Calgary. The track itself was pretty garbage.
And so this was 2004, you said?
Yeah, 2004.
Okay.
And we had insane amount of practice. We had probably, I'm pretty sure there was like 4 days of practice, and this track was maybe like a 2 minute long or something like that. And when we saw the track, we did track walk, and then when we saw the schedule that it was like 4 days of practice, we just we went to a bar and just got absolutely hammered in Calgary, and it was like myself, I think Kyle Strayed, Geordie Lunn, Greg Minard, and we just missed the whole day of practice. We just didn't bother even practicing the first day. It's insane to think about it now. It's like that, because we were like, well, why would we go out and practice the first day? Because there's like 2 or 3 more days of practice left.
Mm-hmm.
And now the guys get like 3 hours a day or something. Like it's really, really limited.
So was Minar on Haro in 2004?
No, he was on Honda.
He was on Honda in 2004.
Yeah, he was first year on Honda.
Okay.
And then that's the same race where, because the track was so bad that Chris Ball raced in his underwear.
I don't remember this.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, so there's a pretty like famous picture of Chris Ball racing in his underwear.
We got to find that.
Yeah.
But
that just goes to show, like, so what we like. I don't even understand how they let him start. I think he like got stripped down.
Yeah.
Took his trousers, and he had knee pads on, but he was only in his jockeys.
Wow.
Like you'd probably get a lifetime ban now from UCI if you would do it.
You can't even wear a skin suit.
Yeah. Oh, that's a cool photo of the Honda squad and Rubens Barrichello, the Formula One driver from Brazil.
Is that who that is?
Yeah, he came to see our Lisbon downtown. There's like a street race, which PT was unstoppable. Like he probably won it like 4 times in a row. So yeah, Rubens Barrichello came because of the Honda program. He came to watch the race.
And you said this was in Lisbon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 2007.
Okay. So who all on the Honda team raced in Lisbon? Was it all 3 of you?
Yes. I know Brendan was injured. He probably had like a thumb injury.
Okay.
Maybe. He didn't. So it was myself and Greg that raced, but Brendan was there because we came from probably Vigo. World Cup was like a week before that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's his bike. Did you say
exactly.
So in the last recording that I don't know what we're doing with, I think you said he had a different rear shock than you guys?
Yeah, if you can find a photo, like you can see probably just under the seat pod, you can see a little bit of the front of the shock that's like a different color, and then it was funny time. Like Brendan wasn't allowed to have tie spring, so he's on a stainless steel spring.
He wasn't allowed
like a steel spring because Brendan was a bit of a guinea pig for like testing out some production stuff.
That's actually Brendan's bike. That one. It's got Fairclough on the down tube.
Yeah, this is Brendan's bike in the photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got flat pedals as well.
Oh,
So
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Killer looking bike though.
yeah, like that year we all had alloy forks,
Right.
and me and Greg, we had electric lockout. Like Brendan was allowed to have that.
So I don't want to have to like redo our conversation, but like there's a lot of people want to know about this bike.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? So you had alloy forks this year, but like why was that different?
Um, we had a few mishaps in the past, like '05 and '06 seasons. So the upper, or like the outer, what is it called? Yeah, the fork legs, like the lower legs were made out of carbon. So the
Mm-hmm.
actual stanchion
Mm-hmm.
was carbon wrapped with, like, I don't know, some kind of aluminium foil. And we had to keep like replacing those every single race
Mm-hmm.
because they just weren't very durable. And we had a few. Greg had one failure on like a race run, and I had a bit of a mishap when I forgot to tighten the the axle bolts,
Uh-huh.
and the entire dropout got ripped off from the leg, which caused quite a bit of chaos. And the Japanese guys absolutely freaked out because well, I broke the fork, so for the following year they they went to full alloy forks. And but yeah, we had to replace the lowers, so we would always like get brand new lowers for the race run. We would practice with those lowers, and then we would get a new set of lowers for the finals.
So was the
So
aluminum coating on the carbon stanchion like wearing through or what was it doing?
I'm not exact. I don't remember like what was the issue. It just wasn't very strong. It
Yeah.
was super light, and it would probably wear, and it just wasn't very reliable because
Mm-hmm.
we broke a few. So for like the safety measures, they just wanted to make sure that we always had fresh forks, and yeah, it was pretty incredible the amount of resources that Showa and Honda put into that project. Like
Yeah.
we would have our own suspension technician at each race, working from our pits, and we would have Honda engineers at each race,
Because
and
the cost of those things was insane, wasn't it? The suspension, the frames, the R&D, and everything that went into it. So we
yeah,
were
like
to that.
exactly, like one of the. I think the bike was estimated to cost about like $60,000 or something like that. It was an
Wow.
insane amount of money. Obviously, they'd had to like throw a figure like to make it sound like crazy in the media and like would get more attention and stuff. But yeah, it was definitely absolutely incredible project to be a part of, and probably the most secretive bike out there that's ever been. And from the outside, like us being on the inside, we pretty much I wouldn't say we took it for granted, but it was just normal, so we didn't think much of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a bike. Like we didn't think like, "Oh, okay, this is so and so expensive." It was just a bike that worked. It was quite noisy, had a really good like center of gravity because of the gearbox.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it had some like really cool features, which
Because
modern mountain bikes having
there,
now.
there was there was talk about them going into production at one point, wasn't there?
Yeah,
Do
that's
you know
true.
anything about that?
I don't know all like the full details of it, but we got told that it would likely be in production. So we were testing out some like production stuff uh, on the final year, and then I don't know. This is just guessing, but maybe when Brendan took the bike to Port de Soleil for a month, he and rode there in the rain, and just didn't maintain the bike whatsoever. Like probably washed it and that's about it. Put some new brake pads and tires on it. The thing was just trashed. Like there was not one bit that was recoverable. So when he took the bike to the next race after his trip in France, and Brendan can quote me on this, the Japanese guys completely freaked out. Like, what have you done to the bike? Like, there's not one bit that is recoverable. Frame was bent, the gearbox was done. That, you know, it was just in a very bad nick. And I think that was something which was an eye opener for the Japanese guys, that okay, maybe we're not ready yet. Like, how if, because there will be people that ride their bike like literally in the Alps every single day, and they don't really maintain their bike that much. Like, how would they be able to find the parts? How can they service the bike? Like, where can, you know, how the Japanese, or like the Honda guys, would do the after sales? Like, there had to be some sort of a certificate or certified a service center of some kind, and I think that was maybe one of the reasons, and that the project was put on hold and eventually stopped.
Yeah.
And then it would have been like, the bike would have been super expensive to purchase.
Yeah, everything about the bike that makes it cool was like super proprietary.
Yeah, like there's not really one bit of any other bike. Like, every single bit is custom made. Like,
Yeah. The whole
brakes and
drivetrain, the
brakes and
suspension.
brake pedals and rims are more or less like standard tires, or like standard products.
Yeah.
But everything else is just like one-off custom parts.
Were the hubs even bespoke to the bike?
Yeah, the spoke. Hubs were made by Honda.
Yeah.
So they were like HRC racing hubs. They had like a special rear hub with basically it wasn't like a single speed or fixed gear. So it had like an emergency freewheel in case something like the gearbox would malfunction or gets jammed, or if there was something caught in the drive unit. The chain that it would jam the system. There was like an emergency freewheel that it was sort of tight enough that it would constantly keep the chain rolling, but in case it would jam, it would still let the rear wheel spin, and it would not completely lock up. But I don't remember if the front hub, was it a standard 20 mil axle, maybe. But
I
it
wish
was,
I could zoom in. Oh, there we go. I can't zoom in. So that's
yeah,
a
I'm not
Honda. That's
sure.
a Honda hub.
Yeah, over here you can see that these forks are carbon,
That
and he
is a
had like
carbon fork.
magnesium lugs and all the bits and bobs. Like, one time we were in Corona in California at the Showa facility, and then our suspension was getting worked on one bench, and then there was like Ricky Carmichael stuff on another bench just like next to us. And then the Showa technician was like in broken or like a Japanese English saying like, "Oh, your suspension is more expensive than Ricky Carmichael's suspension." We were like, "Hell yeah."
Yeah. Okay, so the black fork legs are carbon, and then you got carbon fork lower protectors on there as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a Honda hub, apparently.
Yeah, the hubs were definitely made by Honda.
Yeah.
Right. What brakes were you running on those?
Not Magura. What was it called? A Formula.
Formulas? Yeah, I was going to say they look
Yeah,
like Formula Oros.
Oro.
Yeah.
Oro, maybe.
Yeah, Oro
Oro.
K24s or something.
Yeah.
Huh. Nice.
We
Okay.
did test some,
Whoops.
like, we were testing those out, and they were like at the time pretty strong compared to like most brakes. Like, Formula had a really, like, had like a new coming.
Yeah.
And we were probably the one of the first teams to get on the new generation Formula brakes. Like, they had the fully closed red and black. I don't know what they call it, like the first, like the original disc brakes.
Yeah.
And this was like their new coming. that year.
Yeah, I think I ran the Oros in maybe 06.
Yeah, they were good brakes.
Yeah.
So,
They
dude,
were
you were
really
mentioning that they would actually swap out the bolts for different courses to fine tune like frame compliance.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, with the we had like different chassis bolts, which we didn't swap them out at every single race, but we definitely like we had different like test sessions like outside of racing, and sometimes we would maybe opt for like a more stiffness or a bit more flex. So we would have like the main pivot bolts, which would like connect the gearbox to the frame.
Mm-hmm.
We would have like hollowed out bolts, solid bolts, and then like cut out bolts, and they would all have different flex. I don't, to be honest, like I don't remember like which bolts we opted to go with,
Mm-hmm.
but it was just like that. The Honda guys were like ready to go that far into the details, and we would like in these test sessions they would like swap parts out. We would have to do back-to-back timed runs, and
Uh-huh. And you said
then
that they had bikes set up with telemetry on some of them for like testing.
yeah, we did have some telemetry test bikes or a bike. Usually Greg was the one that would uh, have to ride the telemetry bike, and it was something which we all like hated to do. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we didn't like understand much of the data, but the telemetry bike was heavy and it would like catch side wing because it was pretty much like a big solid block. Like if
Right.
one time Greg had to ride the telemetry bike in Fort William and nearly had a big golf because Fort William is pretty infamous for like strong winds, and he got like caught by a side wind on one of the upper parts of the track and nearly got thrown off the course. So it was yeah, not something which we always wanted to do, but we had to. But yeah, we didn't really use telemetry at any of the races. So it was something which the Honda Honda engineers wanted us to do occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
And
So I have a question.
yeah,
It's kind of twofold. You went from the orange 222 to the Honda. Both are single pivots and like kind of similar. How did they compare? And do you think a single pivot with good suspension could be competitive today?
that's a good question. To
Because
be
I mean,
honest,
you know what proper suspension feels like. If you were to like build this bike today with modern geometry, could it compete or anything like it compete?
um, I think you can get single pivot good enough to a certain point, but then like if you're really trying to refine and you're pretty stuck with like certain kinematics probably with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not much of a like suspension guru, but like you can only get so much out of it, and um, I think they've exceeded what can be get out of single pivot
Mm-hmm.
and the modern. I don't think there are any modern bikes with single pivot design um, anymore. But at the time, it was good. Like Orange in the early 2000s was pretty much the benchmark. Like everybody, um, not everybody, but like it was a really popular bike to have. It
Yeah.
worked. It was reliable. It was, I would say, it was relatively stiff, or it was stiff, at least what I can remember.
I remember
So it wasn't.
when I first saw the 222, because I had one in 2001, one of the animal orange ones, and I
Yeah,
still got it now, and I got one of Greg's original bikes as well, and it was just when you first saw that bike, it was out of this world with a massive monocoque welded frame.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know, nothing else like it.
And I'm not sure if many other brands did. I guess there were some people experimenting the singer pivot design, but that was a singer pivot. But then at the same time, it was a high pivot, so the
Hmm.
chain would actually go above the main pivot.
Right.
And I don't think the frame and the suspension design and the kinematics were anything spectacular, but it was just the Showa suspension, because we'd always have fresh suspension, and then it was like on point, like, and I think that's something what really made the bike sort of stand out and be so good and smooth. It was just like, it was a good working suspension on that. Like, I wish that I would get a chance to ride it nowadays,
Yeah.
and just at least have one run on it, just to feel what it was like.
Yeah.
You don't
The
have one, right?
fork was like super flexy, at least like the carbon ones. That was something
it?
yeah, we got used to it, but we had some issues, especially Greg, because he was a bigger rider, heavier rider. I think it was a couple of races he probably crashed because of the fork. Like, the forks would just flex and like kind of fall underneath you. So that wasn't, it just didn't have enough like a rotational stiffness.
Even after they went to aluminum.
Then it was much better. That was, it was significantly better when we went to the carbon forks. It was noticeably heavier, but it was stiffer.
You had electronic lockout on the rear or on the front, or both?
Ah, that's true. Yeah, we on the rear.
Yeah.
So we had a electronic lockout, which had a timer. So you
is
could
there a
like
button somewhere? Like, how did that work?
I'm not sure if you can.
Am I
'Cause I
zooming
think
in on the handlebar or on the shock?
no, because that's 06, and we had it in 07.
Okay.
So there was an electric switch on the left-hand side, but that was a year after this, and it was.
What year are we in
Here you
here?
kind of see it, and
I
that's.
don't know what I'm looking for.
And this is also because this is in Leogang, and that's an IXS Cup back in 2007. And when we did like smaller races, we didn't have the lockout, so we only had those at like in important races, because we had like different race bikes, or we had practice bikes and race bikes. And when we didn't have the Showa technician, maybe this, which year?
What rear shock is that? Oh, that's still a Showa, but it
No,
looks
here you
different.
can see just a little bit if you can. There's
Where am
like a
I?
little.
Am I looking at the shock or the handlebar?
The shock, whether if you look, you see like a little electric wiring going into the um into the that's it.
On the very, can you
And
see my mouse moving around?
yeah.
Yeah. So like right
So
there is a
probably
little
there,
wire.
yeah.
It's like hidden
So this,
inside or underneath the top tube.
There's also something like right through here.
yeah, I think that's part of the like the electric cable
Yeah.
that goes into the actual shock. So there's probably some kind of a servo that pushes a compression stack, and then it releases it. So it had a timer. We could set, I think it was like 3 seconds to like 10, up to 10 seconds. And it was we were trying to improve the pedaling efficiency of the bike, because it was quite sluggish, especially out of a start gate.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't accelerate that well, and that was just something which Showa came up with, trying to improve the efficiency of the bike.
And it had some kind of a blow off, you said. So if you hit something, it would open up.
Yeah, like if you'd accidentally flick the switch,
Yeah.
In a wrong place, and there would be like a big enough impact, it had like a little blow off valve that it wouldn't completely blow the shock up.
Did it have a little bit of wheelbase adjustment back here?
Yeah, so it's pretty similar like dropouts as you can find on any motorbike.
Yeah.
But I don't remember that we would be like playing with
Yeah.
wheelbase length and the chainstay length. It was more because it's basically like a single speed design that we would be able to get enough chain tension.
And is there an idler right in here behind this kind of upright?
Yeah. There's a little idler of some kind
Yeah.
above, so that it's not like, I guess it is a high pivot, even though
It's
it reminds me of
like,
the pivot bike in some ways with
yeah.
the chain configuration.
So high pivot with an idler. Where have I seen that before? I'm joking because like everybody's doing that now.
Yeah, that's it. Like what we had back then, it's some cool carbon bits,
Yeah, dude. This thing is a
electronic shock lockout.
freaking,
It's just a wicked looking bike.
yeah, it's a spaceship. Let's see
Even
what else I
today, it
got.
looks rad.
Oh, that's the next team. So, anything else about this that people don't know, you think?
Well, I guess the what people really want to know is what was in the gearbox, and it was just basically
Yeah.
A regular looking cassette, and like a not a derailleur, but kind of looked like a derailleur. So
Yeah.
it wasn't actual like gearbox sprockets. I think there were a few iterations, like the early models had an actual gearboxes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure there was like 3 different iterations, like the early Honda versions.
Yeah, I heard
And
there
there
was
was
a CVT.
yeah, this is the only like the version that we ever rode, so I never
Mhm.
even seen any of the other versions or
Yeah.
know much about them. And all in all about the project, like it was just Honda's like R&D kind of development. I'm sure they um, used a lot of the technology and engineering knowledge that they had from the motorcycle backgrounds, which
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
obviously. Um,
Yeah, somebody put a picture of a like a motocross chassis next to this thing, and they are really, really similar.
yeah, like if you take just the front chassis, or like the triangle,
Mm-hmm.
it's very similar looking to a
Yeah.
motocross frame.
How did you do on this?
Um, I I would say I had my best seasons. Like I won 2 World Cups, got second overall
Nice.
to Sam Hill.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say it was like my prime.
Yeah.
After that, I never really had as good of a result. So there's it was like my best years of racing was definitely on the Honda.
And
And
you were
one
on
of the
Honda. Whoops, did that again. You were on Honda until 2007?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then switched to intense.
Yeah. So I apologize in advance if I get chain reaction and you were on like an intense factory team. You had a blue bike and a red bike. Apologize in advance if I get the time frame flip flop.
No worries. There was actually, yeah, kind of race for 2 different teams,
Yeah.
which rode for intense. So I was on the MS Racing,
Mm-hmm.
which is ran by Marcus Stockel and Lucas Heider.
Mm-hmm.
So it was Austrian-based team, which was funded partially by Intense.
Okay.
I rode for
Whoops.
that's when we had the red Intense, like the first generation M6s.
So was that
Yeah, like
before
the
chain
M6.
reaction?
Pardon?
Was that before chain reaction?
Yeah, that's it. That was
Okay.
before.
All
So
right. Here we go.
this is the first year on the Intense. So we had the Intense M1, oh no, it was M6 Evos, which had the curved down tube.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, and the red frame. So this was like the factory team, and then there was also a chain reaction cycles Intense, um, running kind of not parallel, but it was at the same like time frame. And then
Uh-huh.
MS signed for 2009, so MS Intense switched to MS Evil. So I wrote for Evil for 1 year, and then I switched teams and went to Chain Reaction Cycle. So
you were on Evil for a year.
Yeah, so I wrote for 1 year on Intense, and then I was still under the same team, and then the team just changed to title sponsor, and we raced Evo bikes.
Was that their Imperial, or what model were you on?
That was the what was it called? It was a Revolt.
Okay, was that an aluminum? They had an aluminum.
No, that's
bike.
Is it Revolt? Yeah, that was the first downhill bike that Evo came out with. So it was like
they all broke, I think.
Yeah,
from memory.
We had quite a few issues, unfortunately, on that.
Yeah.
Like,
how did I miss that? Design. I didn't find any pictures of that. I gotta go look that up. Jamie, look that shit up.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm being Joe Rogan over
there was some bent duck bones, but no, it was really cool. Like, it was it was Gabe Fox, and was running. He was like the team manager. Stevie Smith was on it. I that was really cool. I get to know Stevie and be teammates with him for a year, and it was really cool and good to get to know like Stevie well. And he was still like an up and coming rider with full of enthusiasm, and sometimes we felt like he was a bit arrogant because he had some big talks, and obviously he went on to do some great things and be one of the greatest racers to win World Cups and win overalls and stuff like that. So it was it was good times. And then I miss some of the late night hotel talks, being on bed next to him and just chatting. And he was such a funny dude and such a nice and good guy. Like, I really miss him. Like, it was amazing to get to know him and call him a friend.
Yeah. And you raced, you mentioned earlier, you raced with Jordy Lunn too?
Yeah, he's a year older than me. So yeah, before Jordy went to like more of a free ride and dirt jumping and stuff, he was actually a really good racer, which probably most people don't know about Jordy. Like, he'd had some top 10 World Cups, and we've had some battles in juniors and stuff. So yeah, he was a good World Cup racer and downhill racer before he turned to free riding.
So you had a string of single pivots, like the Scotts and the Orange and the Honda were single pivots, and then you had VPPs with Intense, and then you had Delta Link with Evil. Do you have like a strong opinion about suspension designs, like which ones you like?
Not really, no.
Really?
Like, if
just ride them.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
you can make them work.
Like, what is the best suspension design? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just ride them. Like, now I don't need to worry about it too much. Like, I'm a bit of a puzzler myself. Like, I can really go into the rabbit hole and like kind of be my worst enemy by trying to search for something which I don't even know what I'm looking for. Like, rather than just having bike time and getting used to, because you're trying to chase something, or at least I was trying to chase something. Like, I would change my suspension completely to like one run, which is, I don't know, 3-4 minutes. There's no way you're going to feel comfortable on that straight away. Like, it's not just going to happen like from one run to another if you don't have a good baseline. So like, when you're lost, you're just like searching for something which don't really know what you're looking for. Like you kind of you're chasing this feeling, but it's not just gonna happen in like a flick of a switch. Like you really have to like do runs and get to know your suspension. Like give it a bit more time. Like I've heard so many times like people, they buy their new bikes and it's like, oh, I gotta get the rear suspension re-shimmed because it doesn't have enough mid-stroke support. And I'm like, you can't even go over a jump, let alone talk about not having enough like mid-stroke support on your Juba Duba, the best of the best rear suspension. Like,
I was watching a thing with Jackson Goldstone the other day, and they were saying about how he would come down and he'd give the mechanics feedback. They would make an adjustment, but not tell him what they'd done. He would go back up, ride again, and he would come down and he can tell them what they did, even though they didn't tell him. And it was quicker each time, and it was just that level of like, I guess, being one with the bike. Is just, but also with your mechanic as well, and trusting that your mechanic's tweaking all those little adjustments. It's pretty insane to work that closely together.
Yeah, like Honda would do pretty similar stuff to us. Like they would, like on test sessions occasionally, that they would change something on the bike and without telling us, so that we wouldn't be like opinionated or have like anything to know about it in advance. And then we would have to write them feedback, like what did we feel, like what were the characteristics of this. And similar thing with, we tested some Mavic tires in France with Fabien Barrel and Luda May, and there were a few other enduro riders. This was like after I raced the age, and we had this pretty intense like test session where we would have like different wheel sets, different tires, but we didn't know what they were.
Yeah.
And we were not allowed to discuss how we felt. So we were just out riding for the whole day, just doing laps. And every time we would get down, we were given like clipboards, and we would have to write down like this was tire set number 1, and write down all the all what we felt like. And then we would have like a breakdown of the day at the end of the day. And it was so I think a lot of teams go into detail like that, and because that's the only way to find out like if something's good. Like if we would do a test session and I would be telling to someone like, oh, I felt like this or that, or this compression setup is like really good, it feels feels like good in jumps and corners and this and that. Like the other rider would already get influenced by that and already have like expectation, like, oh, maybe this is what it's going to feel like. So
I think one of my favorite stories is like, I'm pretty sure it's like Fernando Alonso, and it's like a proper man and machine thing. And he just through a weekend said there was something wrong with the car. He pinpointed it where it was on the car. They couldn't find it. And when they got back to the factory and stripped it down, they found a crack in the chassis. And that's like how tight like you get when you're at the pinnacle of the sport. Like between you and the machine, you just know what it's doing. You can feel it. You know what it should feel like.
Yeah. But yeah, we would other story about, which kind of popped to my mind, about Stevie and suspension and setup. And we were at Montanan, and Stevie came with his bike from home, which had been on a truck's tailgate, and he'd been rear-ended by somebody else, and his forks were twisted. So like they barely moved because their lowers were so bent. And like we were trying Stevie's bike out, and the forks were just completely seized up, and the stanchion would hit the bushing inside of the fork and do this like massive clunk when we'd go deep into its travel. And we're like, mate, like you can't ride like this. And Stevie was like, nah, I'm just gonna use it for practice, and then I get fresh forks for the race. And imagine just how much faster I'm gonna be when I get working forks. And I'm like, okay, well, that's one way of doing it. And he did that. He just rode in practice with the broken forks, and then he got freshy for the finals day, and it was like, yeah, he did really well. And it was he just wasn't bothered.
Yeah.
Where there's like no way in hell I would have even gone to practice with like broken forks like that. It was just like, no, it's not gonna happen.
Nice. I was playing around with the slideshow and turned it off for a second. So, and you had the same bike for a couple of years anyway. So after you went from MS Intense, you went to Chain Reaction, and you had another Intense.
Was it? Yeah, it was named.
So the M9 by then?
Yeah, it was M9. So the M6 was kind of short-lived. Like it didn't have a long shelf life.
Mm-hmm. What's the difference between an M9 and an M6?
Was that when they went to 27.5 wheels?
Nah, that's way before, like 27.5. It's like not where. Hang on, when did 27.5 came out? Nah, it's like a few years before that. It was still 26 for sure. It had like a flip chip on a lower rocket link. It had the adjustable dropouts as well. It had adjustable head tube, like the head tube adjuster.
The M9 did?
Yeah, where the M6 did not have that. Maybe some of the race frames. There's so many different ones because Jeff would just like they're all like pieces of art. They're all like ever so slightly different.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
dude.
At least prototype frames.
In our vintage downhill group, people have like kind of tried to document all the different M1s. And just within that category, there's probably like 25 different versions just of the M1 because he would make changes all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like there are so many different iterations.
I mean, he would change the pivot size, he would change the swing arm size, he would change the gusset on the swing arm, and then like the monocoque piece that you have on your M1. On some frames, it goes like this, but sometimes he would invert it and it would go like that, right? If you look,
some frames of the same year would have like rim brake mounts, others don't. Even on a 98, like mine has a rim brake mounts, but some don't. But like there was the I would say the M9 was like just a version up from the M6. It was an upgraded one. So
and they look a little different. I don't know. Somebody in the group will know. Somebody will come
and he had a different. Hang on a minute. It had a different shock length. I mean, so maybe
this looks like a
9.5 shock.
That's like a 9.5 by 3.
Yeah, this is like a 10 point. So the M6 had like a really long shock with like a long stroke. And I think the M9 has a shorter shock, so it has a different leverage curve. And
so this is the bike that Turka Lehtinen. How do you pronounce his name?
Lehtinen.
Yeah. This is the bike that he restored. This is like your old race bike that he restored.
Yeah, he's done a good job because he's actually restored 2 of my old M9s.
Oh, really?
So he's managed to somehow found the original frames. Not with all the parts, but then I send him like a pretty detailed list of what parts I had on the bikes and the team used, and then I still had some like these brake levers. Actually, I still had, and
dude,
some
chain
other
reaction etched in. Chain reaction etched into the reservoir body.
Yeah, exactly. We had some custom brakes from Hope. These brakes were, how would I say? We had some issues. Let's put it at that.
Oh.
They were really like nice looking brakes, but then they would overheat quite a bit and then start losing quite a bit of the braking power toward end of the run.
So I think this is a different fork than on the other one. Is it a different bike?
Yeah, that's a different bike. So that has the yellow linkage. So that is this, and the one at the top was like a prototype version, and this is a very early production one.
Okay.
So this is like closer to the finished product.
Mm-hmm.
Which
is that like the FRO version with the gold link, isn't it?
Yeah, and it didn't. Yeah, that was pretty close to the production one, and we raced at maybe like the second part of the season.
Dude, that bike
Um,
looks like it would still be good today. Maybe with bigger tires, but
yeah, when I sat on one of these things, like Torca was actually kind enough to not give me one of those bikes, but I made a trade because I had a prototype boxer
right.
of one of the early prototypes. He's got a pretty cool intense M1, like a Palmer replica build,
Mm-hmm.
and he really needed a fork for that. And I happened to have a fork, and um,
I think you actually put
we
some pictures up on the
negotiated
group of
quite
that.
some time, and I hooked him up with the fork, and he gave me the restored bike. So I guess it was a pretty good trade off.
Yeah, so this one has the adjustable head tube. I don't know if they all do.
Uh, I don't think they all do have it
Yeah.
because, like I said, Jeff always for the race bikes, he always did like some special features. Like some of them, they've got their name, like rider's name engraved into the bottom bracket as serial number, and
Mm-hmm.
other break other frames. So it was like an ongoing process. So Jeff would always make some final tweaks, and even throughout production, I guess that was the beauty of being like a boutique brand, that you don't need to go through like a massive board meeting in order to get something changed. Like
Mm-hmm.
we could get things done in relatively short time frame, and if there was um like a production falls, or like we would um end up finding like, okay, the frames are failing from like one particular place, they would be able to like do relatively quick updates to the frames. So that was the beauty of it, and really cool to like be part of like a smaller bike brand.
So you took this M1 and raced it in a local race in Finland. This is a 1998 M1 that you restored.
Yeah, that's because like earlier in the podcast I mentioned that this was my dream bike when I started riding.
Yeah.
When COVID started, we all had time, all the time in the world. So I was just browsing through the internet, and put up like wanted to buy a sales ad on this, like a buy and sale website, and then Turkka, the Finnish guy who restores some of the vintage DH bikes, he sent me a link and of this particular frame on
Mm-hmm.
sale, and I was like, oh, I pulled the trigger on it, and then started searching for parts. Managed to build the bike up in quite short time frame, and I'm like, oh, what I'm going to do with it now? It's like I may as well take it to a race, so I
Yeah.
took it. So yeah, like this photo could be from 1998, but it's actually from
Yeah,
2020.
you've got like Chris Cobart's jersey on, looks like.
Yeah, I think I got that from Jeff when I was at
Oh, really?
Intense, like an Intense cross country jersey,
Okay.
and I found those old Fox pants from somebody had them um, lying in their shed, and they were kind enough to give them to me. And but yeah, I took it to the race. Took me quite some time to get it up to the bike because it was tiny.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I probably didn't have the right spring rate. So the suspension was pretty, I'd say, wallowy, or maybe it was just the way the M1 worked. But
they do wallow.
Yeah, and I tried it in the beginning. I was trying to ride it with like clipped in, or like the clipless pedals, and I just couldn't go around the corners. Like it was just scary because the bike was so unpredictable. It was so short. There was literally no rear wheel traction, and I had to switch to flat pedals and kind of start to ride the bike off the back and like let it slide. And it really made me understand, like, if you look any of the old footage of people riding the M1, they're always having their feet out in places where you're like, why is he taking his foot out? Like if you look at, it was like a Palmer's race run in Leger,
Yeah.
and he's just dragging his feet on like flat corners, but you had to, because you couldn't trust the grip. And as soon as the back end started going, there was not much you could do, because you would lose the back end so quickly. So all in all, it was a cool experience, but I wouldn't say it was the best riding experience that I've had. and I think that, how would I say, like, if that was so bad to ride, and it was the benchmark and the best downhill bike that you could have at the time, how bad were the rest of the bikes?
Yeah.
Never meet your heroes.
Yeah.
That's always never meet your heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what other bikes were around? Like the Lobo, and
Those.
you know, the team riders weren't really allowed to talk
Yeah.
bad about them. But I mean, Mike King didn't like the Lobo. Everybody knows that. You ever play with a Lobo?
No, I've never ridden one.
So
It looked cool at the time.
they looked awesome, especially the carbon one. It looked rad, but like they were limited to like a 2.3-inch wide tire. And it had adjustable bottom bracket height, but if you didn't run it tall enough, the tire would actually hit the seat tube, even with a 2.3. So you always had to run the bottom bracket higher than you wanted. So it had a steeper head tube angle than you wanted. You couldn't run a big rear tire. And I think they came stock with 6 inches of travel. It didn't even have that much travel.
Yeah. And they were super, super short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were tiny.
And that doesn't even mention like they would just break like everything on. I mean, the original
would have that little like a seat post adapter to make the seat post like extra set back.
Yeah.
It was made like AC had this.
Actually, AC Postman.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, the carbon wasn't actually even bonded to the aluminum. It was like they had cutouts in the aluminum, and then when they put the bag and the carbon to compress it, that would push the carbon into the aluminum, but it wasn't actually bonded. So over time, the carbon and the aluminum would come loose and it would break, and the linkage was super spindly and it would break. So yeah, the M1 was like the best thing there was.
Oh. Yeah, and like you said, it had like all these adjustments, and you couldn't like use them, or you had to have the bike set up in a certain way. Because I was facing quite a bit of issues with the M1, because it had all this adjustability, but it was only like one configuration that I could get the bike somewhat working.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't, like, if I put the bike like lower, the linkage would hit the shock, or the tire would hit the frame. So I had to like, oh, okay, this doesn't work. So I had to take the spring out and trying to find like a happy medium where to set it up. And maybe, I don't know what size the bike is. I know like Intense made, so maybe the bike is like a small size, but it was tiny. So from like, if they had a small one, medium, and a large, maybe, I don't know what particular size that is, but
I don't know.
It's
just looks wicked though, doesn't it? That bike just looks like Looks like the late 90s, early noughties.
Yeah,
It's just
and
wicked bike.
it's thanks to you for hooking me up with the MRP rollers, which is really really nice of you and gives it the final touch, because
That's a pleasure, man.
those were impossible to find. Like, and if you find any, they weren't usable because they would just crumble to bits.
Yeah, even the brand new ones are dead.
Yeah, exactly. So, really, really appreciate that it gives it that last bit of final touch. Actually, once you zoom in to the end of the handlebar, so I did have a bit of a cheat code, which is actually made by Honda, because I have bar extensions.
Yeah.
Because I just couldn't. Honda made when wider bars would come in more into the picture, because everybody would run like 7. The fun handlebars was like 710. So this is like, it has an expansion that ties into the handlebar. So I used the same bar extensions, so it would give the handlebar like an extra 2 inches of width,
like an inch on each side.
Yeah.
That's horrendous. That
Yeah,
scares me.
just to get Azonic, that I could run the original Azonic bars.
So I have the same thing on my M1. I have Greg Menard's Haro, which is an M1, and then I have bar extensions on that, and I have that on my Sinister N9. But Jamie, they're only like that big, so like they're only like right there on your hand. But it takes you from like a 27 to a 29 or a 28 to a 30.
I know, but that's where the outer grip clamp goes, dude. Like on a piece that screws into the end of your handlebar.
I don't know. It's pretty good.
It's not that long ago that we had to like custom make these plugs to get bigger bars. Like, we still use them. Probably 07, 08.
I'm an 800, 810 bar on most things.
Yeah,
that's pretty big. Yeah, that.
Yeah, eight. Normally 800, pretty much.
That's
even 760 now feels tiny. It's like a kid's handlebar.
Yeah, I think I'm somewhere in the 770, 780, somewhere along there. I think at some point people went to, or at least I went to like 80 and up, but kind of slimmed down from those bars a little bit.
Now they're just 80 mil high, not 800 mil wide.
Yeah.
So what is this? Did you have like a retro bike show or something?
Yeah, this was a bike exhibition, like an outdoor expo. I think this spring, and they are like all the biggest brands. They have like test bikes outside, but each year they have like a vintage vintage display in one of the corners of the expo, just to display some of the old bikes. And these are all like from collectors. So the organizers, like, they always get like a certain group of people, or they have like X amount of area where they can have all these bikes displayed, and then try to gather like a bit of a vintage show. And Turkka had like my old bike for display. On display. So
GT Giselle.
I was a bit of a reuniting with it.
Yeah. Got a couple of Thai hardtails. Zaskar. Couple Zaskars. Right on.
Cool.
Yeah, Zaskars and some of the old Thai frames or like old vintage or cross-country hardtails was something which I was like really frothing over as a little grom. I started mountain biking when I was about 11, 12, and like in 1994, 95. And that's when it was kind of I would say, mountain biking has gone, a big like changes throughout those years. So I've kind of experienced it all, like the cantilever brakes, 24, 21 gears, 26-inch wheels, like all horrendous elastomer forks to like a modern bike. So I've kind of seen it all, even though I'm never had to race downhill like in the 94, 95 era. But
yeah,
Bikes are cool, man.
yeah,
All bikes from all ages,
yeah, exactly. So
which is why I have a lot of them, because they're
yeah,
all cool.
yeah, you have quite an impressive
yeah.
collection.
Jamie
I'd
has
really
all
like
the
to
bikes.
come and have a look at your collection and see all the bikes that you have stored in the attic. It's incredible.
Well, when you come over, man, we'll dig a few out. We'll get you on some old 222s, and we'll take them for a rip.
How many vintage bikes you have, roughly?
160, 180.
Oh,
Plus
160.
plus frames, forks. Yeah.
Oh my God.
They're not all in one place. They can't all be in one place because
yeah,
it's
right.
just yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so don't get me wrong. Some of them are pretty basic stuff, like an old like Diamondback Topanga or something, which is just like the cheapest steel frame you could buy in '97. But it's like brand new, all the way up to stuff like the bimetal GT Zizang that I restored. Which is a super rare bike. But then some tons of cool downhill stuff and rare stuff. But
You could just have a vintage exhibition,
You
just
totally could.
like
well,
all along.
that was the plan, but it's just too expensive for the real estate over here. But yeah, fingers crossed one day we'll be able to put them on display somewhere. That maybe later this year I'll talk to you about a project.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah,
All
we'll
right,
get you
Maddie.
over.
I think it's like after 10 p.m. your time. I appreciate your staying up.
Yeah, somewhere along there. Yeah, 10 p.m. So not too late, not bedtime just yet, but
Not yet.
yeah, but not far off.
Well, dude, thanks for joining us again and having a chat and looking at old bikes and race pictures. Did we cover everything? Did we miss anything?
I would say more or less. I'm sure there's always like a story here and there. We could probably go on for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, I would say we covered probably most of it and some of the more memorable stuff. And it was really cool to see some of the old pictures that you've gathered together and managed to source out from probably all over the internet. I'm sure it wasn't easy to find all those old hidden gems.
Turka actually sent me quite a few.
Yeah, he probably he's a good one to have in your corner because I'm sure he's got so much like knowledge and knows all the ins and out of the vintage bikes and the community.
Yeah, he's a really good dude. It's become like such a small world, that like I talk to people in Finland and England and all over the place about old downhill bikes. So
yeah, it's cool that there's a pretty hard like a community, like
yeah,
people have common interest, and it's uh just gets people from different backgrounds together. And end of the day, we all love bikes. Like I'm
yeah,
deep down, like I'm a racer, but I always used to be like geeking out bikes. And when I was a little grom, like I would know all the ins and out, the prices and how much this and that cost, and the amount of time like I've spent browsing like old mountain bike magazines back in the day.
Yeah.
And looking at the old ads, like it was the coolest thing, like having the old magazine. You picked it up then from the magazine shop, and you were just frothing over the prices and the product names. There wasn't any
yeah.
pictures. You would just be reading like the hub selection and the handlebars and grips and that's one of the memorable things was like I actually ordered my first ever set of lock-on grips from somewhere in America. Like, my friend's dad had a fax machine, so we faxed to the shop. I don't know how we made the payment. I don't remember, but like,
dude, back then you probably wrote your credit card on the paper and just faxed it over.
It could be, yeah. And
Yeah.
then I don't know, 3-4 months, or not months, probably like a month later, this little box showed up with like, we all like chipped in for the shipping cost. So it was like three or four of my friends. We all ordered Yeti lock-on grips and THI fenders, and yeah, just ordered them from an ad off a back of a mountain bike magazine somewhere in America.
Rad. That's cool.
Right on, dude. Well, I really appreciate your joining us. It was good to take a little trip down memory lane and learning about your bikes and your racing.
Yeah. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. It's a pleasure, man.
Yeah.
All right. We will
enjoy talking some of the old stuff, and yeah, let's if we find some other subject of any kind, let's do it over again at some point.
Anytime. You're always welcome. All right, we'll call it a night. Good night, gentlemen. I think it's beer 30, even over here in California.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks, guys.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
All right, later.